Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
Well, from to us a son was born and a child was given.
I want to ask you a question. Have you got your book? Haile Selassie I, Ethiopia, Volume 1, The Rise of the Priest Warrior King. I've read the book in its entirety, and I must say it's very inspirational, very informative, and very historical, right?
Them call him Ras Tafari. When he was born, rain fall from the sky. Them call him Ras Tafari. When he was grown in airplanes he fly. They call him Ras Tafari. Lion break the chain, beat not, don't cry. Them call him Ras Tafari. Read the Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Then born near the city of Harar, the inspiration for Bob Marley's guitar. People crowd him like some big superstar. It no matter if England.
Yes. So you know, a lot of us were there, and that is where even I had come up with the idea before, started thinking about Rastafari Speaks, and it's there now. I said to share the idea with Miguel and others, right? And that is from there, it started to germinate a little bit more. And then by the end of 1980 is when we decided we launched Rastafari Speak sometime around November 1980. We put out November for the coronation. Right after the coronation, we launched the Rastafari Speak newspaper. I entitled it the Rastafari Speaks. And then people like Shango was my brethren, and Muntula Libala, who now deceased, and so on. We have Kimani Langa, my brethren who used to put out the Kambule magazine together, and so on. All of, we put together all energy and efforts. Umawale, who is now deceased, a lot of brethren who know, a lot of them deceased now, but a lot of us came together. I came up with the idea, and I said to everybody, know how we're going to be financed. I said, we got to get advertisement. We need to get advertisement. I said, we need to, we have enough Rastafari ITEL shops and Rastafari businesses because Trinidad was flourishing at the time. Yes. So, you had on every block, you had a Rastafari business where there's a place you're going to go and get your...
What year are we talking about here?
We're talking about 79, 80.
79. Hold on, stick up in. I see a question here in the chat. It says, I'm big up. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat so that we can keep it interactive. We have a question from Ankoma Dejed. Asked the elder about the conflict of interest being Rastafari and socialist communists with regard to the Derg regime political orientation. So, I guess she's hearing the I say comrade and these things, and then the Derg also came under that kind of revolutionary communist. I know Castro supported the Derg as well. Do you find that that's a conflict of interest, or how do you reason about that?
Well, first and foremost, when you look at Mengistu and his strive to supposedly be communist, there's no communist country on the planet, first and foremost. That's the first thing, propaganda we have to knock down and lick down, because there's no country on the planet, whether it was the Soviet Union or even today China, that has ever been communist, right? What you have is people striving to create a scientific socialist society. So people like the Derg under Mengistu was not even communist and wasn't even scientific socialist, because that was a coup. Mengistu came to power in a coup d'etat, and that coup d'etat was, and even the Majesty said, if you read the mission, he said he was for the revolution, because he knew that sooner or later he was sending young people away to study, whether it's in military schools or a university and so on, and they will come back with different influences and changes. So he said he knew that sooner or later there will be a revolution. So he was not against the revolution, but but however, I don't want to see Mengistu. I saw Mengistu as a totalitarian, a dictator. I never see him as being because if he was pro socialism, he would have embraced the people of Ethiopia, would have been going forward to be a more progressive country at the time. And what was taking place in Ethiopia at the time was a lot of attacks on the regular people. Yes, they attacked the Majesty family and so on and so on. And I could say that, oh yes, there were a lot of poverty going on in Ethiopia at the time. But I'm not pro Mengistu.
Okay, okay. Give thanks for that clarity. And again, family, put your questions in the chat. We'll try to get to as many of them as we go along. Now we are going forward to the late 70s, early 80s. Rastafari speaks. For any Rastafari person, especially at the beginning of the internet revolution, but prior to that, as a physical entity, Rastafari speaks was a pillar in terms of just informing Rastafari throughout the world. It inspired myself to know that there was something greater than what I was seeing in Washington, D.C. At that time, we used to print out, the pages from the internet. I worked at the computer lab, so I used to print them and bring them to my gates. Was like a central gates, and we used to just go through all of these things. But talk to us about the beginnings of Rastafari Speak. You started already, but
Yes.
bring us through.
I will jump to it, but I want to make a clarity too. As a person talk
Yes.
about communism, I want to make a clarity too, and then jump into that.
Yes.
I want to say that our communism, we also, because in North America, specifically at universities and so on, and colleges and so on, there's a phobia about communism being countries being communist. There's no country on the planet that ever been communist. That's real talk, right?
Okay.
You have a country that have a communist party and a country and it lead probably like in China, the Soviet Union in 1917 and so on under the Bolsheviks. But communism in reality came out of communalism, which we had in Africa, among our community. The old ancient societies were communal societies, right? So I just want to make that clarity before going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying that communism is more a theory that's never been attained.
Never attained.
You wouldn't attribute it to any of these governments. You're not communist from a political sense.
Because when you have communism, when you reach to the stage of communism, that means you will have no police force. You will have no need for no army. You will have no need for a state.
Okay.
Right? Because under communism, there is no need, because people can now manage their own self. There will be so there will be no need for the police as a state apparatus to watch over the masses of people, or the army to watch over the people, and they wouldn't use the army to quell and to tear gas their own people, and the police to tear gas their own people. So once you have state apparatus, there can never be, that is not communism. So what you have is the bridge from capitalism into socialism, and then communism, if it ever come to being, it will probably be the final stage. Yes. But there's no country on the planet has ever been a communist country.
Yes. And sit forward again. Just frame up yourself in the thing.
Yes.
Bongo Wisely is in the house with us. Big up Bongo Wisely from St. Lucia in the comments. Bongo Wisely said that the revolution was against His Majesty teachings. So, our wise elder giving, and we're going to make sure we have Bongo Wisely up here on the Lion Talk Live as well. So ready up yourself, Bongo Wisely. Give thanks for the eye coming in. So take us to Rastafari Speaks now. This is a pillar. Yes. Again, I am the Reading Ras family. So we're going to spend some time on this legendary publisher in the Rastafari community, the first to do many, many things. Educated, I am a product of his work. So he is actually looking at the fruits of his work, because 1977, when I was Rastafari and doing this revolutionary work, I was just being born, Ras Sekou. So just to give you some context, I'm a 1977 October 2nd. So just to give you some context about the fruits of your labor, it was never in vain, because it produced youths like I and I. But continue with Rastafari speak.
Yes. So 1980, November 1980, we had different people came together, and I basically, as I said, in 79, we in Grenada, started to talk about it, because I saw the importance of being in Grenada. I saw the importance more of having a newspaper for Rastafari, brethren and sisters all over the world. I saw the need from in Trinidad prior, because at the time, in the latter 70s, what was taking place, not only in Trinidad, but because I was sojourning there at the time, more so, I saw whereby that when a robbery took place in Trinidad, they would always point it towards the Rasta man.
Okay.
So they always say a Rasta man, even though it might have been a man with a mop on the head.
Okay.
Right? They would always say it's a Rasta man who committed robbery. And therefore, this was a bad connotation on Rastafari, a bad stigma on Rastafari. So I now was always conscious of what Marcus Garvey always talk about having created, not just talk about having. He created the Nation newspaper, he created the Black Man newspaper, etc., etc. So he saw the need for propaganda. Their Majesty, on the other hand, so right after coronation, created the Buhani Press, right? He made sure and bought a press so he could develop reading materials about Ethiopia.
Control the narrative. We have to control the narrative.
There's a difference between the lion story and the hunter story.
Yes.
Right? The hunter gonna say, here it is, I thought I was in the jungle or in the forest, and there it is, a barbaric animal came, a ferocious animal came upon me, and I had to kill it. The lion now will say, I was in my own habitat, walking around quietly, and here it is, this man came with a gun, and he trying to attack me, so I had to dispose of him, right? So it's two different stories altogether, because the lion is in his own space, in his own habitat. So the importance of having your own media, writing your own story, telling your own story is very important. It's a crucial thing within Rastafari, within the Black African nation.
Yeah. I shall lift up I eyes unto the hills from whence cometh I help. I help coming from the true and living eyes, Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, who created Zion and earth. He shall not suffer I foot to be moved. I hold, he that keepeth Ethiopia shall neither slumber nor sleep. Well, youths in the streets right now, riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. One bad police right now, riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. No justice, no peace right now, riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. The fire now cease right now, riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. The youths them rise against brutality, man a kill another man for your salary. Them train them at the shooting gallery, black and loot, you might lose all your family. Them defend white supremacy, so them see the African as them enemy. It's been like this for centuries, them sick mentally. That's why we have you out in the streets right now. Riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. One bad police right now, riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. No justice, no peace right now, riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. The fire now cease right now, riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. Them said them tired of the looting, I and I tired of them shooting. Ku Klux Klan they recruiting. Then them dress up in a blue suit and they're brutalizing our youths them. No court, they just execute them. Till the people start learn the truth and the black youth go strap on them Gideon boot and them out in the streets right now. Riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. One bad police right now. Riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. No justice, no peace right now. Riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. The fire now cease right now. Riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. The Most High denounce their philosophy. Talk to United Nations properly. He said we will fight if necessary and be confident in the victory. They try to erase our history. They wanted to change our destiny. Cause we are the children of the Almighty, destined to lead the whole world to harmony. Them out in the streets right now. Riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. One bad police right now. Riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. No justice, no peace right now. Riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. The fire now cease right now. Riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down.